Welcome to Wellness for Real. It's with me, Heather Heynen. If you are in your 40s, 50s, 60s, or beyond and want to stay strong, energized, and sharp, you are in the right place. From science-backed nutrition and hormone health to strength training, athletic performance, and evidence-based mindset tools to make real lasting change in your life now, we are redefining what it means to thrive after midlife. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here and listening to Wellness for Real. Today, we're going to talk about something that might be the most underrated and overlooked tool in your midlife wellness toolbox, and that is fiber and its lesser known cousin, resistant starch. I kind of like doing little episodes like this on just very nuanced and yet very practical things that don't often get talked about, but that can be really, really helpful for our health and well-being. I'm sure when you think of the word fiber, you maybe think of that brand cereal, your grandma's prune juice, but what we're really talking about is a powerful metabolic regulator. It's a macronutrient that supports your hormones, blood sugar, weight, and gut health in ways that go far beyond just being regular. And resistant starch, I want you to think of it as next level fiber. It acts like fiber, but behaves more like a metabolic whisperer, if you will, improving insulin sensitivity, feeding your good gut bugs, and reducing inflammation, all without raising your blood sugar. So today we're going to get into what fiber and resistant starch actually are, why both are really critical for our health after 40, and how they impact hormones, metabolism, and mood. What happens when you don't get enough, and how to easily get more without bloat or boredom. So let's start with fiber. Fiber is the part of plants your body cannot digest, but even though it doesn't provide calories, it provides something even more important, and that's function. So soluble fiber slows digestion, it lowers cholesterol, and helps manage blood sugar. I cannot say that word, insoluble. Insoluble fiber keeps things moving through your gut and prevents constipation. And then there's resistant starch, which is technically a starch, but because of how it behaves in the body, it's classified more like a fiber. So resistant starch resists, right? So resistant starch resists digestion in the small intestine. So it passes through the large intestine intact, where it's fermented by gut bacteria. And the result from that is the production of short chain fatty acids, especially butyrate, which helps to lower inflammation, improve gut lining integrity, increase insulin sensitivity, and regulates immune function. So think of it this way. Fiber is like the daily janitor, sort of keeping your systems running clean and smooth. And resistant starch is like the overnight IT tech, right? We're working behind the scenes to optimize your internal software while you rest. So why do these matter so much after about age 40? Once we hit that 40 mark, and especially after menopause, everything shifts, right? Hormones fluctuate, blood sugar becomes harder to regulate. That's because of that insulin sensitivity we talked about in one of the past episodes recently. Inflammation quietly increases, muscle maintenance becomes harder, and your microbiome starts to change too. So fiber and resistant starch, really, you can think of it as sort of stabilizing all of these systems. So let's walk through how that happens. Okay, let's talk about first estrogen and fiber. As estrogen declines, symptoms like hot flashes, anxiety, irritability, and weight gain often show up. So fiber helps by supporting the excretion of metabolized estrogen. It helps by preventing recirculation of old hormones. It also helps by feeding gut bacteria that help modulate neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. Also, a really big one is insulin resistance. And this is where resistant starch really shines. Studies show resistant starch can improve insulin sensitivity anywhere from 33 to 50%. That's huge. It can reduce post-meal blood sugar spikes. It can enhance satiety and reduce hunger hormones like ghrelin. So one small study found that people who ate 15 to 30 grams of resistant starch daily had improved insulin response within 4 weeks without changing anything else. So I want to talk a little bit about symptoms of low fiber and resistant starch. So you might be fiber deficient if you've been experiencing constipation, bloating, or gas. maybe if you're having sugar cravings or energy crashes, brain fog, mood swings, menopausal symptoms that really seem to hang on, right? Like you're experiencing them and they're just going on and on and on. You're not ever having any breaks from them. Difficulty losing weight despite eating well, despite eating maybe even in a caloric deficit, you're still not losing weight. Or if you're always feeling hungry and not really ever satisfied with your meals. And if your gut feels off, or your skin is acting up, or your blood sugar is creeping up each year, resistant starch could be part of that secret weapon to really help to begin to correct some of those things. Let's talk about some real world ways to add more fiber and resistant starch. Okay, so let's talk about fiber first. Practical fiber sources that are gentle and effective would be things like berries. So, for example, raspberries have 8 grams per cup. An avocado is a great source of fiber. Chia seeds have 10 grams per 2 tablespoons. Lentils and beans are a great source of fiber. Whole oats, quinoa, farro, those sort of things have great fiber. And then leafy greens and vegetables like broccoli or cauliflower, they've got some great starch. Great fiber. So now let's talk about resistant starch. And this is kind of where it gets fun. The top sources of resistant starch are going to be green bananas, or you can use green banana flour if you're not into eating a green banana. But these are really rich in type 2 resistant starch, and they're not sweet, but they're really amazing in smoothies. This is my favorite one. This is one I do almost daily. Cooked and cooled potatoes. So you make potatoes, you cook them, but you do not eat them yet. You cool them in the fridge. You save them like for the next day or a meal later on. The cooling transforms some of the digestible starch that are in potatoes into resistant starch. So these would be great like in a potato salad or chilled roasted potatoes. It's just a really kind of fun and easy way to get that resistant starch in. And then cooked and then cooled rice. I'm not a huge fan of rice for anyone unless you're an athlete or really, really active and you're using it to fuel your workouts or your activity. So if that's you, this would be a great way to get some resistant starch in. And it's the same principle as the potatoes. You make it and then you cool it. Once it's cool, it becomes resistant starch. And then you can absolutely reheat these things gently. The resistant starch does remain there. And then lentils, legumes, they're naturally high in resistant starch. And again, even more resistant starch if they're cooked and then chilled. And then also raw oats or soaked overnight oats. Soaking really boosts that resistant starch formation. Probably you've seen a lot of hype and recipes and all the things on overnight oats for breakfast. And it's why letting them soak overnight is even more helpful than just having them in the morning because the soaking them really produces more resistant starch. So this would be just a little practical tip. Make a batch of cooked rice or potatoes. I always make a batch of potatoes and then chill it overnight and then use it in salads or bowls the next day. And that resistant starch really feeds your gut, helps to control glucose, and leaves you feeling more balanced physically and emotionally. Okay, let's talk a little bit how to start adding in fiber without getting the bloat, because that is a real deal that can happen. So, fiber and resistant starch are amazing, but if you've been eating low fiber for a while, your gut bacteria probably are not going to be ready to handle a huge increase right away. So, here's how to do it smartly: start low and go slow. So, increase fiber by 3 to 5 grams every few days. Drink a lot of water, at least half your body weight in ounces. Chew thoroughly. This actually is a really big deal. People don't think about this one a lot, but we need to chew our food thoroughly. It really helps with digestion and bloating. And then rotate your sources. So don't just eat beans 5 days in a row, okay? And then take a walk after fiber rich meals. That aids in digestion, stabilizes blood sugar. Even 5 to 10 minute walk can be great. Both fiber and resistant starch support your gut brain axis. When your gut is well fed, it produces more serotonin, less inflammation, and helps to regulate stress responses. This is why when I'm working with people, whether in therapy or in coaching, so if someone comes to me with anxiety and depression, we eventually do get to how to eat in a way to really help support how we're feeling emotionally and mentally. It really does. How we eat really does help regulate our stress responses. It's also why increasing fiber isn't just about weight loss or digestion. It's really about how you feel in your body and your mind every day. Okay, so here's the truth. Around that age 40 and after 40, we don't just need more protein and fewer carbs. We need smarter carbs, the kind that nourish our gut, balance our hormones, and reduce inflammation from the inside out. Fiber and resistant starch, which are carbohydrates, by the way, are like two sides of the same coin. One improves digestion, hormone clearance, and appetite, and the other really upgrades your insulin response, gut health, and energy. And if you're already prioritizing protein, which I hope you are, now is the time to build in this forgotten macro. Your metabolism, hormones, and microbiome are really going to thank you. Thanks for being here. And if this episode sparked a shift in how you think about food and midlife wellness, share it with a friend or leave a review. You are really helping more women age with real strength, strategy, and purpose. We will talk soon. Thanks for tuning in to Wellness for Real. Don't forget to sign up for my free monthly newsletter. It's packed with tips for real well-being, a high-protein recipe in every issue, and exclusive discounts on products and services I trust. You can find the link in the show notes at my website, heatherheynen.com. Let's stay connected. Follow me on Instagram at Heynen Counseling and Coaching, on Facebook at Wellness for Real, and catch more content on YouTube. And if you're enjoying the show, please rate, review, and share it. It really helps others find the support and inspiration they need to thrive after midlife.
The information in this podcast is intended to provide a broad understanding and knowledge of healthcare topics. This information is for educational purposes only and should not be considered complete and should not be used in place of advice from your physician or healthcare provider. We recommend you consult your physician or healthcare professional before beginning or altering your personal exercise, diet, or supplementation program.